Hey y'all, welcome to my new Mustang Kirby's third ever day of training. I didn't have a whole lot of time on this day, so I didn't want to start with something big like picking up his back feet, and so after giving him a refresher on some stuff he already knew, I decided to set the goal of getting him used to grooming tools and cutting his mane. This is going to be a bit more of a low-key video as it was a pretty chill training session with Kirby. He was a bit funny about me brushing his mane. I think he was being sensitive to the feeling of the brush touching his neck underneath his mane, so I was trying to be careful to just brush the mane and not touch his neck.
This one's like, why are you pulling my mane to the other side?
Once I'd brushed his mane a little, mostly to get him used to the feeling of something moving around and touching his hair, I just went in there with the scissors and started cutting. I'm cutting his mane because he's going to be an English sport horse and he has to look the part. I also think it's a little bit symbolic of his transition into domestic life. As he starts to look more like a domestic horse, I subconsciously start to treat him a little bit more domestic, which in turn results with us both building trust in each other a little faster. Kirby was starting to be a little bit sensitive to the hair falling off him and landing on his shoulder and his legs, as well as the flies, I think, were distracting him a little bit. So what I ended up having to do was hold his mane in one hand as I cut with the other hand and actually set the mane on the ground instead of letting it touch him because I think it was making him a little bit ticklish.
This hair is so thick, it actually cuts kind of decent straight.
So because he kept shaking his head, here you can see where I started holding the mane off him so that as little of it would touch his neck as possible. He was just sensitive to that feeling. It must have felt pretty weird for him, and he was a bit ticklish about it, and that's why he was tossing his head. Using two hands on the mane helped a lot. However, I wasn't able to get very much done that day, so I kind of just had to cut it straight across and give him a bit of a bowl cut. But it ended up not looking too bad on him because of how fluffy his mane was.
I know it. He's going. He gets tickly, like when the hair's on him, and then he gets a little fussy. So what I'm trying to do is like grab the hair and like pull it off him before it touches him. No bite. Good job. You need to sneeze?
After giving his mane a quick brush all to one side, I did just a little bit more and he was much happier this time. Now that his mane was done, I took the curry comb to his body to get some of the mud off. I'm going to speed up this part because it was pretty boring. He was really good for this, especially letting me use a grooming tool on his butt for the first time. He was very good about that.
Okay.
Here I spooked him the first time the curry comb went on his hindquarter. I definitely surprised him, but after that he was pretty good.
You scare me.
Who got more startled, me or Kirby? Leave your answer in the comments.
I'm always afraid they're gonna do like a hi-ya maneuver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I then introduced him to the brush and spent a bit of time brushing his body and making him nice and pretty and clean. I wanted to see what he would look like all cleaned up. I wasn't quite ready to brush his legs yet, but I wanted to get a picture of him looking pretty domestic. Don't forget to let your horse take a scratcher's break and show off his flexibility when he's been a little bit fussy about the flies. As is pretty typical with horses, my attempt to get him to stand still for a photo did not pan out. However, I got this nice still frame, which I think showed him off pretty well. Well, thank y'all so much for watching. I know this was a bit of a shorter video, but I hope y'all still enjoyed it. Stay tuned to follow along for the rest of Kirby's journey, and thank y'all to everyone who's been subscribing and leaving comments.